Hello my friends, Stephanie here, and I'm back with more movie chatter. And what I have for you today is another Criterion segment because, as you may or may not know, the Criterion sale through Barnes & Noble, 50% off Criterion titles, is still going on until August 4th, so you still have time to go either online or in store and grab titles that you've been waiting to pick up in the Criterion collection. And how I'm going to do this video is I'm going to show you my first round of pickups, and then I'll cut away. I'm going to grab 3 titles that I have recently watched. I'll give you a little more in-depth thoughts on those, and you can decide if you'd like to add them to your collection. Now, this is just my first set of pickups. I have other ones that are sitting in boxes next to me. I have a few things still kind of in transit in the mail. So if you made suggestions to me and you don't see them in this pile, they could show up in future piles because, like I said, I do have quite a few things running around and sitting next to me. I just wanted to space out my pickups through the month. So I'm just going to get right into my my first round here. I'm going to keep my commentary very brief because I don't want this video to get out of control long. And most of these, I think I only watched one since I got them, so I'm going to keep my commentary very brief. And then I will give you full reviews after I watch them. The first one is Spine number 34, Andrei Rublev. And this is the cover. I've heard nothing but great things about this. It's a long one. It's 183 minutes. It's from 1966 in black and white, and it is in Russian with English subtitles, but as soon as I watch this, I will give you a more proper review because I'm sure it's going to be wonderful from what I've heard. The next one is Spine number 267, another one from Akira Kurosawa. You know how we love him and all his work. I believe it's pronounced Kagemusha. Hopefully I've said that correctly. This is the cover. And again, I've heard really great things about this one. This one's a later one, work. It's from 1980, but it's also a long one. This is a longer one for him. Well, actually, Seven Samurai is really long, but this one's 180 minutes, so this one's going to take a little bit. But again, when I sit down and watch it, definitely give you an in-depth review on that one. The next one is Spine number 57, Cary Grant and Audrey Hepburn. How can you go wrong with that combination, right? Charade. And I believe I've seen this one, but it was a long time ago. So I am really looking forward to revisiting this one. And Cary Grant and Audrey Hepburn, always a great time. And I mean, come on, how can you go wrong with that? That's the cover. This one is from 1963. It's 113 minutes in color and in English. So if you want to check that out. Now this one is, I know this is such a popular movie and it was all the buzz when it was announced that it was coming to the collection. People were so excited. Some of us didn't even wait for the sale. We just grabbed it right away. It is Spine number 977, David Lynch's Blue Velvet. And I have already watched this. I couldn't even wait. I watched it right away. Here's the cover. And this one is from 1996. It's 120 minutes. It's in color and it is in English. And basically what it is it just breaks that bubble of the ideology of the utopia of small town America. And we have a young man who is home because his father's injured and he finds a human ear when he's walking around. And that's where our story gets going, and it really kind of unravels and it becomes this really partly dark comedy, super layered film, and it's just so much fun. It is so interesting, and Dennis Hopper probably gives one of my favorite performances I've ever seen him give. He is so nuts in this film. He makes the film for me. But we also have Laura Dern, Isabella Rossellini, and Kyle MacLachlan, who plays the lead. And it is just a fantastic film, and this is one that I'm just going to sit down and do a full review on, but I wanted to include it in the haul part. I can't recommend this enough, and this is one of those films that every time you watch it, I hadn't seen it in a few years, and every time you watch it, I think you're going to take away something new from it or pick up on something new because there's so much going on, and it feels very chaotic in parts. So I think each time you watch it, you're going to pick up on a little bit more and notice something that you didn't notice in the previous watch. But if you've seen this, let me know in the comments what you think of it. And I'll just do a quick unboxing since I haven't watched it. I have watched this one. It comes with a really nice essay book, of course, because Criterion knows how to do it. The disc art matches the cover art. So we have the nice blue. And then we have a very infamous shot of the inside into that famous apartment 710. And this is the front, back, and spine. But yeah, if you're into the slip box design, now would be the time to definitely pick it up, because this is how they're packaging it for now. They haven't gone to the snap case, but you know, Blue Velvet is definitely, I think it's one of those that's a really safe buy, even if it's a blind buy. But it's a really, really awesome film from David Lynch, and I'm so happy it's in the collection. And this next one sounds great. It is spine number 966, Detour. From what I know, a man is off on a road trip. He finds himself with a dead body in his car, and supposedly this is a true B film, low budget film. They had like no budget, not professional actors, and it is supposed to be fantastic. So I cannot wait to watch this one and give you a review on it. It's from 1945. It's 69 minutes, black and white, and in English. So if you want to check out, it sounds kind of like maybe a film noir type of thing. So I'm really interested to see what this one has to offer, because it got some pretty high marks when I checked into it. And this is a classic one. It's been in the collection for quite some time, a long time actually, and I just never got around to picking it up. It's been on my list forever. It is spine number 51, Brazil. So I'm looking forward to sitting down with this one. I think this one, yeah, it's not too long. It's from 1985. It's 142 minutes in color and English. So here's the cover of that one. And I know a lot of people have recommended this to me, so I'm really looking forward to giving it a proper review. And then we just have a few more, and then I'll get to my review titles. This is also a newer release. It is, no, it's not. It's spine number 399, House of Games. I think maybe this, the Blu-ray release is new, because I just recently got this one. It's from 1987, 102 minutes in color and in English. And basically it's about an author and therapist who wants to help a client by making restitution for money that her client owes a gambler. And I guess everything just goes to hell from there. So House of Games sounds like it's going to be a really interesting watch. And again, I've heard really positive things about it. And this one is definitely new to the collection. It is spine number 976, Let the Sunshine In. This is a French film, and apparently it's about a woman who keeps picking the wrong men, and but I heard really good thing about it. Like it's not like a cliche type of thing. I've heard really like rave reviews about this one, so I am looking forward to checking this one out and giving you guys a full review. But this is the cover, and it's funny because this is one of those films that I had it in my cart, and I was like, oh, I don't know if that's my thing. Took it out of the cart, had it in the cart, moved it out like probably 5 times. And then I went on IMDb and I read the reviews, and the reviews, they were rave reviews. So I just took a chance and did a total blind buy on this one. So looking forward to checking that one out. Now this one I have seen, but it's been quite some time. It is spine, and I loved it when I saw it. It is spine number 29, Picnic at Hanging Rock, a film by Peter Weir. And this is about a group of students who, from an all-girls college, they go out on a picnic, and they go to Hanging Rock as the location of the picnic. And things happen, and some of them don't return. So it has a bit of a horror element to it. And it's from 1975. It's 107 minutes in color and in English. But yeah, they're out on Valentine's Day, and they're doing this picnic, and then some of them don't come back. And it is it's an adaptation of a novel, so by the same name. So if you've read the book, maybe you want to see the movie, or if you've seen the movie, check out the book. It used to come when Criterion first released it. They did it in a slipbox fashion, and they included the book. And I was hoping that they would come together, but they've gone now to the snap case. So this is the cover. And when I do sit down and revisit this one, I will definitely share my thoughts. And the next one is a Brian De Palma film, spine number 770, Dress to Kill. And this one is from 1980. It's 105 minutes in color and in English. And this is about, it revolves around the grisly murder of a woman in Manhattan, and how her psychiatrist, her brainiac teenage son, and the prostitute who witnessed the crime try and piece together what happened while the killer remains at large. that is a mouthful. But this is Dressed to Kill. And again, this one gets very high praise, so I'm looking forward to checking this out. And Brian De Palma is kind of hit or miss with me, as I know it is with a few other people that I've chatted with in the community here. But I heard really good things about this one, so I figured I would take a chance, and I will definitely know what you think after I watch it. And this last pickup is a little box set. Now, I like to try to get the box sets on, during the sale, because they are ridiculously expensive, when you pay full price. So I ended up, this one went for $49, which, $49 is still a bit, but you get 3 movies, so $49 for 3 movies is not that terrible. It is spine number 203, and then the movies are 204, 205, and 206 respectively. It is the BRD collection, and this is the front. And I will tell you what it is about. There are 3 films in it: The Marriage of Maria Braun, Veronica Voss, and Lola. Those are the 3 films. And basically what it is director Rainer Werner Fassbinder, at 32 years old in 1977, had already directed more than 25 feature films. Imagine that. That's a lot of films at 32 years old. And the summer of 1977, he embarked on a project to trace post-war history of West Germany into a series of films told from the perspectives of 3 remarkable women. And that is this box set. So you get a beautiful book. It is, let's see, 52 pages. So you have this really nice book that is all about, there's stills from the movie, there's interviews, all kinds of things about the movies. And then we get the 3 individual films. So we get this one, and they're just housed in these little snap cases. And then we have Veronica Voss and Lola. So, those are my first round of pickups for this July's Barnes & Noble Criterion sale. And I'm going to just cut away, grab my review titles, and I will be right back. Okay, my friends, I'm back, and I have my 3 review movies, and we're going to call it a day. And what I'm going to do with these is, I don't like to get too involved with these. I just want to give you enough bullet points so that you get the gist of the movie, so you can decide if it's one that you want to add to your collection. And my first one is spine number 970. It is called A Face in the Crowd. And this one is from 1957, and it stars a very young Andy Griffith in his big screen debut, and he plays Larry Lonesome Rhodes, who happens to be in the local drunk tank when we meet him. And a woman who runs a local radio program called A Face in the Crowd comes in, and she wants to talk to one of the ordinary men. And everyone in the jail cell says, you want to talk to him. And he sings and plays guitar and whatever. So he's tired, he's cranky, he's hungover, and she wakes him up and she convinces him to play a song, and he's mad and he's going off, and he comes across as this just like crazy, energetic, chaotic, but charming character, and he's an instant hit. So when he's out of jail, she hunts him down, she's trying to get him back on the show, she wants to get him into television, and she tells him he can be a big star. Well, he doesn't want to be a star, but reluctantly he goes along with it, and that's kind of our story, his rise to stardom. But he also happens to be a guy who doesn't like rules, he doesn't like to be told what to do, and even though the crowds love him, which makes advertisers want to advertise with him, he doesn't want to stick to the script, so that causes problems, and you can imagine what goes on. It's kind of like Howard Stern if he was in 1957, but really, really great performance from Andy Griffith. He's charming, he's energetic, he's charismatic, and everybody just loves him, and you can't not love him. I mean, even when he's doing things like drinking too much and womanizing and maybe lying a little bit, you still love him, and he still gives an amazing, amazing performance. I mean, he just blew me away with his performance in this one. And there, besides the main story of just his rise to stardom, there's also an underlying theme which is still relevant today. And I just want to read to you from the back because I found this really interesting. It says, though the film was a flop on its initial release, which shocked me because it is so good, subsequent generations have marveled at its eerie diagnosis of the toxic intimacy between media and politics in American life. And what could be more relevant today than that? I mean, that right there is quite a statement, and it really does. It shows that toxic relationship that Americans have with politics and media and how it's all wound up together. So this feels very, very relevant today, especially the world that we're living in right now. But I can't recommend this enough. This is one that I would say is a totally safe blind buy. I don't see why you wouldn't like it. If it sounds like it's something that is a little bit interesting to you, I think you're going to love it. And if for nothing else, for Andy Griffith's performance, it is so worth seeing. But again, it's from 1957. It's 126 minutes. It's in black and white, 1.85 aspect ratio, so it fills up the screen nice. And this one has a new restored 4K digital transfer. It looks great. And I told you before, the black and white films look really good when they restore them and clean them up. It has some interviews. Some of the extras are interviews with Andy Griffith's biographer. It has a 2005 documentary that features Andy Griffith, Patricia Neal, and screenwriter Bud Schulberg, and film scholars Leo Baudy and Jeff Young. There are also numerous essays in the essay book and a trailer on the disc. But really, really good, awesome movie, so much fun, and I really think you're going to love it. So let me just show you the inside, the disc, the book, and the artwork, and then we'll move to the next film. Just a plain blue, and then we have a great essay book. It's about 30 pages. And again, like I say with the essay books, check it out after you see the movie because you don't want to run into any spoilers, because there are some things that happen that you probably don't want to know before the movie. You have a great caricature on the front of Larry Lonesome Rhodes and a fantastic quote on the back. There's nothing as trustworthy as the ordinary mind of the ordinary man. So really good stuff there. And then this scene is kind of from the beginning of the movie when the radio gal goes into the local jail and she meets him for the first time. But yeah, I really, really highly recommend this one. I really enjoyed it. And it's funny because when I did my Criterion collection video, this was one of the films that a couple people picked up on, and they told me that I was going to be absolutely blown away by Andy Griffith's performance in this. And they were right. I can't believe he didn't win an Oscar for this. But yeah, definitely check out Spine number 970, A Face in the Crowd. And going in the total opposite direction, this was a viewer request, and it is Spine number 953, A Dry White Season. And I want to read to you from the back because I want to make sure I get the information correct. With this bracing drama made at the climax of the anti-apartheid movement, director, and I hope I say her name right, I'm going to put it down here so that at least you can look her up if you're interested, Yuzan Palsy, issued a devastating indictment of South Africa's racist government and made history in the process, becoming the first black woman to direct a Hollywood studio film. So this is a pretty amazing achievement. And basic plot synopsis is Donald Sutherland plays a white school teacher who has lived in South Africa for his entire life and basically is ignorant to what is going on with his black countrymen. He has no idea what's going on with them until he is approached by one of his friends who is a gardener at his school. He teaches at an all-white school, and the guy is a black gardener at the school, and he approaches him and asks him for help because his son has been detained and whipped by the local police, and he claims his son was doing nothing. Donald Sutherland does not want to get involved. His wife doesn't want him involved, and he kind of goes away. And it isn't until the gardener's wife shows up and says that the gardener has been picked up and she has no idea where he is, what's going on, if he's alive or dead, that Donald Sutherland decides that he needs to know what is going on. And without getting into the story and without getting into any spoilers, I can tell you this is a really tough watch, but I think it's a very important film for people to see, because it just shows how people just live in ignorance. And once that ignorance is kind of set aside and that veil is lifted, and you see the horrors that are going on that you could be living right alongside of, you're forever changed. And there are scenes in here that are brutal, tough, very hard to watch, and very sad. And I just think it's a very important film, and I'm so glad that she made it. And it just shows you how once you see these things, if you're not changed, if that doesn't change you, I don't know what will change you. And an interesting thing, Marlon Brando is actually in this, and he plays an attorney who is trying to show that the police, when they take people in, are abusing them and torturing them and using illegal methods to try and get information out of them and punish them. And Marlon Brando gives a really strong performance in this. It's a brief performance, but it's a strong performance. And I don't want to get into any spoilers with this one, but that's, like I said, the brief plot synopsis, but really, really important film to see. And a really, like I said, a tough watch, but a very important watch. And this one's from 1989. It's 106 minutes, and it's in color and in English. It's in the 1.85 aspect ratio, so it fills up the screen. It has a new 4K digital restoration. It has an interview with the director, so that'll be interesting to see. And there is an interview in 1989 with Donald Sutherland, so I'm looking forward to looking at that. There's a bunch of interviews with there's also an interview with Nelson Mandela, which I really want to watch that one. And there's then some different footage, and there are some foreign dignitaries at the 2017 South African National Orders Award. So pretty significant stuff. And then they said there's some essays by filmmakers and film scholars. So there's a lot going on in this one, and understandably so, because this was a terrible things that happened. Here's the disc art. And as soon as I finished watching this one, I wanted to watch it again, because there's so much going on. Now, this is more of a leaflet. Oh, Susan Sarandon's in this too. She plays a reporter, but that's the front. And then it's just essay leaflet. So it's not a book, but it does have some things from some film critics. Yeah, film scholars. And then there's the interior artwork and front, back, and spine. But yeah, this is a tough watch. Definitely, there are some brutal scenes in here, but it's one of those films that everybody should see. So yeah, definitely spine number 953, a dry white season. Put it on your list, do your homework, check it out, watch some trailers, and I think you'll be interested in it. It's a good one. Okay, and the last film that I have for you guys is spine number 985. Now this one just came out, I want to say last Tuesday. It's called Europa Europa. And it takes place during World War II, and it has to do with Nazi Germany and the Holocaust. And it's loosely based on an autobiographical book by a young man who, his family relocated to Poland, where they're a Jewish family, and his parents thought they would be safe if they relocated to Poland. While they're in Poland, lo and behold, the Germans invade, and he ends up escaping. He gets out, but his family is taken away, so they are separated. And he ends up in a Russian orphanage, where he is excelling. He's learning multiple languages. He can speak different languages, but the orphanage ends up being bombed because the war is still going on. Orphanage ends up being bombed, and he is now traveling with a group of people. And at that time, of course, they all had to have their papers, and if they got stopped by the Germans, they had to show their papers. And he ends up getting stopped, and he passes himself off as a Russian Stalinist, like a Stalinist youth. And he shows that he can speak multiple languages, And the German soldiers kind of take him in, and they just love him because they use him as a translator. So when they run across people, they go to him and they ask him what they're saying. And this is what he's doing to stay alive. He's doing anything he can to stay alive. And he's a very smart young man, very quick on his feet, but he really keeps to himself, and he has to keep his identity a secret. So he's basically hiding in plain sight. And he's just doing anything he can to stay alive. He translates for them, he travels with them, whatever they need. And what ends up happening is he does so well that the higher-ups notice him, and they decide to put him into the Academy for Hitler Youth, which is the most dangerous group, the most dangerous place for him to be. And in that school is where they teach them the Nazi beliefs and the ideals and the hatred for the Jews that they have, and they teach them why it's important to be Aryan, and the whole package of what the German Nazi Germany was about. And he is still there, trying not to be discovered as a Jewish young man, and no one knows his secret, and he is being taught how they want him to kill, how they want them to take on the Jewish people, how they want them to wipe them out. And he is becoming more and more frightened as time goes on. And he's also realizing that the general public is really being shielded from what's really going on in Nazi Germany and with the Jews and the camps and the Holocaust and the whole thing. So he starts to become concerned because he wants to find his family, and he wants to know what happened to his family. And that's pretty much what I can tell you about the movie. But this was a really, really good movie about a really tough topic. And anything to do with the Holocaust in Nazi Germany is always going to be a tough watch. But what a smart young man he was, and how he was able to think on his feet just to survive is really pretty amazing. And if you haven't seen this one, I hadn't heard of this one until I saw it coming out in the collection, and then I watched some trailers and I read about it and it sounded really good. And this was really, really good. A really good film about a really tough time in history. And if you haven't seen Europa Europa, I would highly suggest it. It is from 1990. It's 112 minutes in color. It is in German with English subtitles. It has a new 2K digital restoration. It has a bunch of audio commentary. It also has an interview with Solomon Perel, who is the young man whose autobiography inspired this film. And that I really want to watch. It also has some video essays and, of course, the written essays that are in the leaflet that are enclosed. But this is the cover. And then inside we have the matching artwork on the disc. And there's no interior artwork, but you do get a leaflet. And that is where we have the essays about the film. But I don't want to get into too much, because this one is one that's really easy to spoil, because there are things that happen through the course of his travels, and it's just better to watch it on your own. But I would definitely say, if you're interested in anything that has to do with Nazi Germany, World War II, the Holocaust, any of that, definitely put Europa Europa on your list of films to check out. And again, that is Spine, number 985. So check that one out. So those are the films that I picked to review for you today. I hope you found something that you liked in the pile, or something that you're interested in. I think they're all pretty solid picks. I don't think you could go wrong with any of them, but it really depends on, what you're into. I want to thank you guys as always for watching. You know I appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. Leave me some comments, recommendations, suggestions. Hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so you know when I upload again. And I still have so much content for you guys. I have so many unboxings to do, more Criterion pickups and reviews, all that good stuff. So I'm going to be back again real soon, but that's going to do it for me today, because I have 3 dogs upstairs that are ready to eat. And so for now, that's a wrap.